This is Dale, and I want to walk you through a quick tutorial on how to use iMovie, which you'll be getting a ton of experience with this in the labs, but I wanted to get you off on the right foot here. So I have already opened up iMovie, and this is the screen that you will be working in from here on out. And I have a folder here of video clips from another class that I teach, which is my mobile storytelling in the park class. So you can see right here. So I want to go ahead and import all of these videos in so that I can then begin working with them. And I have one interview here with one of my students. This is Autumn. And then I have 5 B-roll clips here as well. So I'm going to put together Autumn's interview and break it down into sound bites. So if I drag that entire clip down, it now has it in my timeline right here. And you can see the audio levels are a little low, so if I grab that line right there and bring them up, I've now done that. And you have this slider right here which will affect the size of the clip, and that way you can really go in and find the exact point where you need to start editing. So I'm going to move the cursor. I've clicked my mouse all the way here. If I hit the space bar, it will begin
so what was your
playing.
experience like this weekend?
My experience was awesome. Being able to get to go on the trails and see the rebirth of Bastrop State Park was truly amazing.
So you can see there's the first soundbite. So let's see if there's a good place where we can.
My experience.
So maybe right after that.
My experience.
So that's a good start right there. I'm gonna click. If I right click on it, you'll see right here it says split clip. If you do that, it's now broken it up into 2 clips, so then I can highlight that first one and delete it, and now...
My experience was awesome. Being able to get to go on the trails and see the rebirth of Bastrop State Park was truly amazing.
And that's where that first one will end. So again, right-click, split clip. Now I've broken up that first soundbite into 1 clip. I do want to show y'all something up here. You have options. You have a cropping option here. So if I want to do a better, or maybe get rid of some of that space over there on the right hand side, I can do that, and now it has cropped it to that size. You'll notice it didn't do it for the rest of them. It only did it for the clip I had selected. So now let's continue watching, and let's continue breaking this this interview down.
And what was your favorite experience?
My favorite experience was actually talking to one of the park rangers and learning about what all they have done over the past 5 years to get the park to be quote-unquote beautiful again, even though it was already beautiful after the fire.
Okay, so there's another soundbite that I can use. Again, let me find the spot to start. So right here.
My favorite.
I'm going to right-click again, split clip. Again, now this is the one that I can get rid of. And
to be quote-unquote beautiful again, even though it was already beautiful after the fire.
So stop right there, right click, split clip again. So let's keep going.
As cheesy as that question sounds.
Very cheesy. I learned.
All right, so let's see where we can start. Maybe right here.
I learned.
Yep. Right click, split clip. I'm going to get rid of this. And now let's listen to this.
I learned that I can be off my phone for 48 hours and be okay, which I know that sounds like corny and hard to believe, but I didn't even miss my phone or being connected to the outside world, if you will.
All right. So I'm going to stop it right there, and let's get rid of the rest of the interview. Let's say that this is the completed interview. So now I've got about a 36-second interview here that I broke down these 3 sound bites, and if we watch them again, you'll now notice they come one after another.
My experience was awesome. Being able to get to go on the trails and see the rebirth of Bastrop State Park was truly amazing. My favorite experience was actually talking to one of the park rangers and learning about what all they have done over the past 5 years to get the park to be quote-unquote beautiful again, even though it was already beautiful after the fire. I learned that I can be off my phone for 48 hours and be okay, which I know that sounds like corny and hard to believe, but I didn't even miss my phone or being connected to the outside world, if you will.
Okay, so one thing you'll have to do is put a transition in. So I want to show you really quickly, if you click on transitions up here, this brings in a ton of transitions. Some of these are really cheesy, okay? Like here's like the old school Batman. You've got some really bad ones. I would advise you to stick with these first couple, the cross dissolve and the cross blur. But one thing you have to keep in mind is if you bring these in, this is going to be about a second transition. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this right here, and you're going to notice it's going to subtract some audio from the beginning and get rid of some of the audio subtract some from the end and from the beginning of those clips. So you need to be really careful with transitions in interviews, and I'll show you how to fix that here in just a second.
To get to go on the trails and see the rebirth of Bastrop State Park was truly amazing. My favorite experience was actually
you see how it did that there. There are a couple things you can do. If you double click on this, you can change the duration. So you could go down to like a half second if you wanted to do that. Or you can click on this and drag this back out to get to the end of the soundbite that you wanted. So let's view this now.
Was truly amazing.
And what was your...
Okay, so you can see I need to stop it about right there. So let's bring this back in.
And see the rebirth of Bastrop State Park was truly amazing. My favorite experience was actually...
Okay, you can still hear my voice a little bit, so you might want to bring it in just a little bit.
Bastrop State Park was truly amazing. My favorite experience was actually...
Okay, so that's close enough for right now. So now let's work on bringing in some B-roll if you choose to do that. And I have these clips. If I click back on my media, and here's actually Autumn and her group working on this stuff. So there are a couple of different ways you can do this. The way I tend to do it is bring it down to my timeline here, and I want to get rid of all this audio. And now I'm going to break these up into chunks that I can use. Your clips will typically be about 4 seconds long. So same thing, I'm going to start one. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to play it for... So there's about 4 or 5 seconds. I'm going to split that clip again. Now I have one B-roll clip there. So here you can see I changed the shot. So now I'm going to split that clip again. I can get rid of this. I'm going to play this for about 4 seconds. Okay, so there I have a second clip. I'm going to split that clip again. And then I think I have one more shot here. So let me get the camera steady. Okay, so right there. So I'm going to split this clip. I'll get rid of that. And again, I'm playing this for about 4 seconds. And I'll split that. So here I now have 3 B-roll clips. And then I can just drag these over. So I'm going to get rid of this transition here. And instead, I'm going to cover this whole clip here. Hopefully cover this whole clip here. And all I'm doing is dragging these on top of the interview. And this one, I'm going to actually cover over that first part of the transition to this one. So now let's watch this again, and we'll have a little B-roll cover to go along with it.
My experience was awesome, being able to get to go on the trails and see the rebirth of Bastrop State Park was truly amazing. My favorite experience was actually talking to one of the park rangers and learning about what all they have done over the past 5 years to get the park to be quote-unquote beautiful again, even though it was already beautiful after the fire. I learned that I can be off my phone for 48 hours and be okay, which I know that sounds like corny and hard to believe, but I didn't even miss my phone or being connected to the outside world, if you will.
Okay, so you see how the B-roll worked there. Since I need a transition, I'm going to fade to black at the end, and same thing, you have to be careful with the fade to black because it can cut off some of the clip, so let's watch it.
But I didn't even miss my phone or being connected to the outside world, if you will.
Okay, so I need to drag this out a little bit. Let's see if that was any better.
Miss my phone or being connected to the outside world, if you will.
And what was your...
Okay, so too far. This is a learning curve with some of this. Let's see.
The outside world, if you will.
Okay, I'm going to cut it right there. Let's get rid of my audio.
The outside world, if you will.
Okay. It's still going. Let's see. Okay.
The outside world, if you will.
And
Okay. So the other thing I can do right here is if I click on this, let me zoom in a little bit. Still trying to get rid of just that last second of
Outside
me.
world, if you will.
and
So one thing I can do is I'm just going to change the length of this since I started talking immediately after it. I'm going to change that to a ½ second. So now we should be able to shorten this up. And let's see.
The outside world, if you will.
Okay, that was much better. The one last thing I want to do here before we save is I want to add her name. We call these supers in TV, but in iMovie they're called titles. So you can see there are a ton of different options here. Pick whichever one you like best. Let's see, which one do I want to do? I'm just going to do this standard lower third, and you just drag it down on top of the clip where you want it to air. The standard clip will be about 4 seconds. So I'm going to enter in Autumn's name, and she's a Texas State student. Now you'll notice I can highlight this and change the font, change the size. I can change the direction of it. So I want it aligned right to be off of herself there. And there you go. So now when I play this,
My experience was awesome being able
her name comes up,
get to go on the
and
trails
then it will
see
fade away.
the rebirth of Bastrop.
so there you go. I have a 30-second clip here. Yours will have to be a little bit longer for the assignment, but you get the idea here. Last thing I have to do is now save. So this is the export option right here. If I click that, I want to click on File, and you'll want to name your movie. So I'll name this Autumn. And then you have a bunch of options here. I want it to be 1080p because that's the highest resolution. Quality, I want it to be high. And I want it to compress as fast as possible. So you see this is going to be about 100 megabytes, which is a big file, but that's about what it's like for a video file. And if you hit next, you need to make sure you know where you're saving this to. So I want to save it to the desktop, and then hit save, and you'll now get an option right here to show activity, and it will let you know how long it's going to take for this video clip to finish saving. So you can see we've got to wait about 2 minutes until that happens, and you see the little chart there updating as we speak. So then from there, I just go to YouTube and upload it, and you have now edited your first complete movie.